I'm James McLynas, and I'm still candidate for Sheriff of Pinellas County in 2024. I'm not giving up on the people of Pinellas County because they certainly haven't given up on me. But what I'd like to talk about is, I'd like to talk about what happened in this last primary. A lot of people are really unaware of what happens in the primary process, and what happened in this particular primary was, again, the dirty politics that goes on here in Pinellas County. Basically, the political party system, the Republicans versus the Democrats, is a system that's really designed to prevent anybody else from breaking through or getting in unless the establishment within the interculture of those organizations thinks that you're a good candidate or thinks that you should be elected. There is a kingmaker process that goes on here in Pinellas County. And if you're not part of the group, if you're not part of the clique, then they'll do everything in their power to prevent you from getting into the power. And this is a system that literally blocks out good candidates and good people from becoming important members of Pinellas County society to implement the changes that most of the people here in Pinellas County want. There's no question that people here in Pinellas County wanted cannabis freedom, which I offered, and now you will not have. There's no question that people wanted to end of mass incarceration, police abuse, police lack of accountability, lack of transparency at the Pinellas County Sheriff's Department. They wanted assistance with drug treatment rather than arrest. They wanted help with the homeless rather than putting a homeless in jail. There's a myriad of things that I offered on my platform that the people of Pinellas County have just been robbed out of that will no longer take place here in Pinellas County. And I want to just talk for a couple minutes about how that occurs. Here in Pinellas County, the 2019 census basically says that we had 974,996 people living in Pinellas County. Might have gone up a little bit between now and then, but the point is we have just under 1 million people here. In the last primary, the primary that we just had, we had 91,722 people in the Democratic Party, and that's 9.4% of the population. Now, that 9.4% of the population was given the task with deciding what the rest of the population, basically about 900,000 people, were going to get to have as their sheriff. This 9.4% basically said, we'll decide for the rest of the people of Pinellas County whether you're going to get the accountability, the cannabis freedom, and all the things that Mr. McLynas is offering. And basically what they decided to do was, no, they would not allow you to have that. There are members of both the Democratic and Republican Party that want to continue to lock up all the citizens, have massive wastes of money spent on policing. They want to continue giving Sheriff Galtieri billions of dollars to lock people up in jail for minor and petty offenses. And most of the people in Pinellas County really don't want that, but there's a subculture of these organizations that does. The difference between the people that voted for me in the Democratic Party and the people that voted against me in the Democratic Party was 17,850 votes. So basically 1.8% of the Pinellas population ruled that you could not have the reforms that I wanted, the ones that I wanted to bring to the people of Pinellas County, the ones that the people of Pinellas County very clearly said that they wanted. My candidacy resonated not just with the people here in Pinellas County, but all over the world. My website was seen in all 50 states, in 74 countries, and in over 3,000 cities across America and the rest of the planet. I had donations coming in from the Netherlands and from England and from Spain, from Japan. I even had donations coming in from Australia, all of those that I had to return. But the bottom line is we had people in foreign countries that wanted the people of Pinellas County to have the reforms that I was bringing here. But that 1.8% of the population of Pinellas County decided for the rest of you that you couldn't have those. Now, when the Democratic Party, approximately 245,000 registered Democrats got to vote, only 91,000 of those voted. But they still blocked off the rest of the Republican Party, which was about another 240,000 registered voters, and the Independent Party, which was another almost 200,000, 199 and change registered independent voters. So basically, that 1.8% of the people, 17,850 voters, they decided for the 440,000 people that are not Democratic registered voters here in Pinellas County that you would not have the reforms that I offered. So the bottom line is they took from you your choice. They took from you the ability to vote. And that's why so many of my supporters were surprised when they went to the polls to vote for me and to make sure that they got the type of policing that I was bringing to Pinellas County. They were shocked when my name wasn't on the ballot. The sheriff's election didn't even appear on their ballots. They didn't understand why. Well, the reason why is because of the way the two-party systems are. The sheriff's race should be nonpartisan. It shouldn't have anything to do with whether you're a Democrat or Republican. It should have to do with what kind of policing you bring to the people of Pinellas County. And the people of Pinellas County wanted the type of policing that I brought, But that small subsection put up a shill candidate, funded them heavily in order to knock me out so that you couldn't have what you wanted. So basically what we have is we have a situation that has to be changed. It has to be addressed. And just like I wanted to become sheriff, a non-law enforcement officer taking over the sheriff's department, because a law enforcement officer indoctrinated his entire career, will never make the reforms that I'm offering the people of Pinellas County. So if you want those types of reforms, you have to be like me. You have to go into the system and change it from within. And I think that the people of Pinellas need to understand that you need to change the way that you look at voting. You need to change the way you view how you take part in this system, how you take part in this process. The bottom line is we have about 200,000 independent, non-public Republican and non-Democratic registered voters. And I was one of those in the last election. I ran as an NPA candidate. I got over 100,000 votes here in Pinellas County, which is more than the entire votes cast in this primary was right here. So clearly I had support from a broad base of Pinellas County voters, but those broad-based voters were blocked and prevented and kept from voting for me in this primary. And that's what's wrong with this system. So I, as an NPA, I was upset with a lot of the things that the Republican Party does and a lot of things that the Democratic Party does, and I didn't want to be pinned in, and I didn't want to be held accountable to the sins of either party, and that's why I ran as an NPA in 2016. But as an NPA, we have 200,000 NPAs and approximately 240,000 each of the Democrats and the Republicans, and even if every single NPA votes for an NPA candidate, they still can't win without Democratic votes or without Republican votes. So the problem is, what do we do about the situation? Well, we have two things that we could do. We could either try and convince all the Republicans and all the Democrats to quit their parties and come to the Independent Party, and then the Independent Party, which is about 40,000 short of being a dominant party here in Pinellas County, could take over. Or we could do something a little bit different. We could take all the people that are in the Independent that aren't in any party and take over one of these parties. And I'm suggesting that the independent voters here in Pinellas County, that 200,000 people, transfer all of their registrations to the Democratic Party, and we become what I would like to term the Independent Democratic Party of Pinellas County. That we start our own group, we start our own organization called the Independent Democratic Party of Pinellas County. And we organize as the Independent Democratic Party of Pinellas County, and we take over the Democratic Party so that no longer will we ever, the vast majority of Pinellas County citizens, will we ever have to be beholden to the decisions of 5.6% of the voters, or in this particular case, 1.8% of the voters. Should 1 million people in Pinellas County let 17,850 Democratic voters decide that you can't have cannabis freedom, you cannot have a cannabis-based strong economy, you cannot have an end to mass incarceration, over-policing, policing for profit, corrupt police officers, double-dipping deputies, wasteful spending, you're not allowed to have all these things because that 1.8% of the voters told you no. I'd like to start a new campaign for the 2024 election starting right now, and I'd like to seek the support of the people in Pinellas County by going out as soon as you can and changing your party affiliation to the Independent Democratic Candidate Party that we're going to be founding here in Pinellas County. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate you listening.